Hello and welcome back to Bicyclelegs Talks Music and another edition of anniversary albums. Today we're going to be looking at albums that are having a significant anniversary in the month of June 2025. For those of you who are new to this series, when I say a significant anniversary, I'm talking about one that ends in a 5 or a 0, so 50th, 25th, 40th, 35th, that sort of thing. You'll get the hang of it as we go along. As always, I've picked 10 albums. Please do let me know in the comments which ones I didn't include that you think I should have included. And let's get straight into it with our first one, which is having its 55th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 5th of June 1970, and that is Deep Purple in rock. This is a terrific album. I mean, this is the first Deep Purple album I ever owned, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's considered to be one of the very earliest works in the heavy metal genre. It's just a classic. So, I mean, it starts off with the wonderful Speed King. You have Bloodsucker, you have Child in Time, which is like this epic piece. Actually doesn't have a lot of lyrics to it, but it's a big, long piece. You've got Flight of the Rat, Into the Fire, which is great, Living Wreck, and Hard Lovin' Man. People who've got the CD with like bonus tracks on that, it'll have the big hit single Black Knight on it as well. I mean, just a terrific album from beginning to end, and an iconic album cover from a band that I think have a reputation for not having some great album covers, but I think this one's really good. Obviously Takeoff of Mount Rushmore and that sort of thing. But, you know, Deep Purple are a band that I've, you know, been getting into more in the last 5 years or so, but I've owned this album for a long time, and it's just, as I say, one of the all-time classics and one of the earliest in the genre of heavy metal, you know. So yeah, it's a terrific album. Great way to start the anniversaries this month. It's also the oldest album that we will be looking at today. The next album we're going to have a look at, we're going to keep on the heavy theme for this one. It's an album that's having its 20th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 7th of June 2005. I only have this one on CD. It's one of my favorite albums by this band, and that is R.E.M. by Dream Theater. As the title kind of suggests, it is their 8th album, and I love this one. It's one of their proggiest albums. You know, I mean, Dream Theater are known as a progressive metal band. You know, some of their stuff leans more into the metal side of things. Other times they lean more into the progressive side of things. This album, I think, definitely got its heaviness, don't get me wrong, but this definitely leans into the progressive side of things. You know, you've got the root of it all. You've got the root of all evil. You've got The Answer Lies Within, which is like a really delicate kind of song, which I really like. These Walls, I'll Walk Beside You is kind of almost a commercial track. You know, it's something that could have been played on radio. Panic Attack is one of my favorite songs on the album. Really love it. Never Enough is great. Sacrificed Sons. Wow, what a powerful piece that is. Musically and lyrically, it really gets you. Dream Theater were never afraid to talk about, you know, political issues and that sort of thing. And that, you know, Sacrificed Sons is no exception. But then for me, what this album's all about is the title track. All 24 minutes of it. It's just epic. It's really progressive. It has some very heavy moments as well. But it's just a wonderful, sweeping piece. The first time I got to see Dream Theater, I've been lucky enough to see them twice. It was on the tour for the following album, Systematic Chaos. And you know, they played some of the stuff off R.E.M, and it was just so great to see. So that's my second album having an anniversary in June. The next one we're going to have a look at is a collaboration album. It's a one-off album, at least it is so far. having its 10th anniversary in the month of June, so it's the youngest album we'll be looking at today. Was originally released on the 8th of June 2015, and that is FFS, self-titled. Now, if you can't quite recognize the initials or the faces on that album, this is a collaboration between Franz Ferdinand and Sparks. They were friends. They'd started sort of working on some things many years before this, but then they got together and did this whole album. And it's just such a terrific album. It's got the best of Franz Ferdinand and the best of Sparks sort of mashed together to make this just unique album. And I love the fact that although it's track 11 on this album and there are 16 tracks on it on vinyl, the 11th track on this album is actually the first one that they started working on. And it's a song called Collaborations Don't Work, which I just love to be on a collaboration album. I think that's absolutely brilliant. But you got the wonderful Johnny Delusional, which was a single off the album. Call Girl is great. Dictator's Son. Little Guy from the Suburbs is great. The Man Without a Tan. Save Me From Myself. Collaborations Don't Work is great. There's a song on here that's just simply called Piss Off, which is just, that's very Sparks, I think, that song. King of the Song is great. A Violent Death. Yeah, I mean, just beginning to end. Fabulous, fabulous album. If they ever decided to do another one, I'd be all in for it. It'd be absolutely wonderful. But as a one-off, it also works really, really well. So if you don't know this album, you're a fan of Franz Ferdinand or Sparks, and you've never checked out the FFS album, do yourself a favour, because it's a really, really good album. Next album we're going to have a look at is having its 40th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 10th of June 1985, and that is Little Creatures by Talking Heads. Now, this was a change of pace, a change of direction for Talking Heads. The last few albums they'd been doing sort of world music-y kind of things. They'd been doing a lot of this, you know, improvisation stuff where they would like just totally improvise in the studio, just play grooves and then write the songs on top of these grooves. This is very much a more song-oriented album. It's mostly written by David Byrne on his own. It's, you know, much more commercial sounding, but it's still got that Talking Heads quirkiness and strangeness to it. It's an absolutely terrific album. It was huge here in Australia. It was pretty darn big in the US too, but really this was the album. And, you know, just before this was the Stop Making Sense movie. And that's what really made Talking Heads mega famous in Australia. And then this album just kind of consolidated on that. But, you know, you've got some wonderful singles on here. You've got And She Was. You've got The Lady Don't Mind. You've got Road to Nowhere. You know, all, you know, got heaps and heaps of radio airplay here. But, yeah, it also got some really good deep tracks like Creatures of Love, Give Me Back My Name, Perfect World, Stay Up Late. That was a single too, and there's a really funny film clip for it as well. Television Man, Walk It Down. Just beginning to end, it's a great, great album. It's it's a change of pace. I love the look of them on the back cover there. Those wonderful outfits. But yeah, I love this album a lot. I've done a Talking Heads studio albums ranked. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to check that out. So yeah, I mean, just a great, great album. And another album that was released on the exact same day, on the 10th of June 1985, another album that's one of my favourites by this band, and that is Fables of the Reconstruction by R.E.M. Now, this is in their earlier days, you know, they're still on IRS records. They hadn't made the switch to Warner Brothers yet. But they're starting to really get that sound that they would be famous for with this album. I think they're getting a little away from the slightly more obscure sound on the earlier records. They're getting towards a little bit more what they would do, you know, when they became megastars. But, you know, it's not all the way there yet. But I love the sound of these early, I love the IRS records. It's probably my favourite period of R.E.M. You got wonderful songs like Feeling Gravity's Pull, Life and How to Live It, When I Was Young, Green Grow the Rushes, Good Advices, Wendell G, Can't Get There From Here, great, great song. Driver 8 is a great, great song too. Yeah, I mean, Old Man Kenzie. Yeah, there's a lot of really, really good music on this album, and again, you know, highly recommended. If you only know the later R.E.M, you know, the Warner Brothers years, you know, Green and Automatic for the People and things like that, go and check out Fables of Reconstruction. It's a really, really good album. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 15th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 11th of June 2010, and that is Intriga by Crowded House. Now, I've done a Crowded House studio albums ranked. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Please do check that out if you haven't already. I rank this one pretty highly, you know. A lot of people, you know, it's all about the first 4 albums before the original breakup. This is, you know, one of the 2 albums they made when they reunited for the first time. And I think it's a terrific album. I really, really do. I think it's right up there with those first 4 albums. I mean, it starts off with the wonderful Saturday Sun. Really great single. But it's definitely a moodier thing. You know, it's an up-tempo song, but it's a moodier thing. And I really, really like that about it. There's a lot of keyboards on this album. It's a lot less of a guitar album than some of the earlier stuff. But I really like that about it. Archer's Arrows is absolutely wonderful. Really emotional and atmospheric. Amsterdam, beautiful, beautiful song. I'm lucky enough to have been to Amsterdam and I could identify with some of the lyrics in that song. Either Side of the World is great. Falling Dove, yeah, I mean, it's great. Then side 2, you've got the rather epic sounding Isolation. Really, really good. Really great slice of pop with Twice If You're Lucky. Inside Out is great, Even If. And then it ends with the beautiful, beautiful Elephants. Just a really underrated album. Again, if you only know the early Crowded House and you haven't sort of explored the stuff that they've done in the 21st century, start with Intriga, because I think it's an absolutely brilliant album. I think it's the best thing they've done since they got back together after the original split. Next album we're going to have a look at is also having a 40th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 17th of June 1985. Smash hit album, debut solo album by this artist, although he'd obviously been in a very famous band before that. I am, of course, talking about Dream of the Blue Turtles by Sting. Now, obviously, he was in The Police. I've just got to show you this, because this one's on beautiful blue vinyl. But yeah, Sting was obviously, you know, lead singer and bass player for The Police. I've done a Police studio albums ranked. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But this was his first solo album, and I still think his best solo album. I'm not a massive fan of Sting's solo career beyond the first couple of solo albums. But this album's just absolutely terrific, beginning to end. So many of these songs are well known too. They either were singles or they get played on the radio. You know, I'm talking about songs like If You Love Somebody, Set Them Free, Love Is the Seventh Wave, Russians, We Work the Black Seam, Moon Over Bourbon Street, Fortress Around Your Heart. They're all great songs and they're all really, really well-known songs. But oh, you know, some of the deeper cuts on here like Children's Crusade and Shadow in the Rain. Just absolutely great stuff. There's a very jazzy feel to this. He's using a lot of jazz musicians on this album. You know, people like Branford Marsalis and Darryl Jones. And Yeah, I mean, Consider Me Gone's a great song too. The title track is lovely too. Just, it's a really, really great album beginning to end. And it was a massive, massive hit for a reason. After this, he was supposed to go back to the Police. They would do that Greatest Hits album, and that, for me, not great version of Don't Stand So Close to Me, which I never really liked that Don't Stand So Close to Me 86. But, and then, yeah, they broke up. So, yeah, I mean, they did that one reunion tour, which I would have loved to have gone to see, but I don't think it ever came to Australia. Great, great album though, Dream of the Blue Turtles. I don't think I need to sell most of my viewers on the fact that this is a great album. As is the next one, which was released the very next day, so it's also having its 40th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 18th of June, 1985. Is one of my favourite albums by this artist. I am, of course, talking about Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic. Now, I've done a Weird Al studio albums ranked. I'll leave a link to that in the description. This album brings me so much joy. The title track. It's an original song by Al, but it's done in the style of Devo, who are one of my favourite bands of all time. Weird Al's done a lot of those where he does style parodies, original songs in the style of some of my favourite new wave bands. And, you know, this is one of them, and it's just absolutely terrific. You've also, I mean, the parodies on here are great. Like a Surgeon is wonderful. I Want a New Duck is a lot of fun. Yoda is an absolute classic. He still plays in concert to this day. Probably the only parody that doesn't really work is Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. And he's on record as saying he only did that because the record company really pressured him to do a parody of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And it's not something he's proud of. But some of the originals are great here. Slime Creatures from Outer Space is absolutely great. It's got a bit of a sort of Thomas Dolby hyperactive feel to it. One More Minute. It's one of his most hilarious songs, and it's done in this sort of 50s doo-wop style. But it's just one of his funniest lyrics. You know, just about all the things, awful things he'd rather do than spend one more minute with you. It's just absolutely brilliant. This Is the Life was from the movie Johnny Dangerously, if memory serves me correctly. It's a really great song too. It's got this kind of, you know, roaring 20s feel, but then it's got these like incongruences with that, like, you know, guitar solos and record scratching and that sort of thing. Cable TV is very funny. Yeah, just beginning to end. Again, one of my favourite Weird Al albums. So lovely that it's having an anniversary in the month of June. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 50th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 25th of June 1975. It is one of my absolute favourite albums by this artist as well. It is One Size Fits All by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. I've done a Frank Zappa studio albums ranked top 10. Obviously, I couldn't rank the entire catalogue. I'll leave a link to that in the description. This rated very, very highly. I won't say exactly how high because I'd like you to go and watch the video, obviously. But this is one of my all-time favourite Frank Zappa albums. It's, you know, that period, he'd done Apostrophe, he'd done One Size Fits All, both great albums too. And then this is in that similar sort of style and feel, but is it a better album than those two? Again, I'll let you watch the top 10 that I did and see what I think. But I love everything about this. Inca Roads is one of my absolute favourite Frank Zappa tracks, bar none. I Can't Afford No Shoes. You've got Sofa Number 1 and Sofa Number 2. Pajama People. Really funny. You know, you got Florentine Pogan, Evelyn, A Modified Dog. I don't know what that's about. It's very strange. San Bernardino is great, and Andy. I mean, just again, you know, there is not a dud track on this album. It's just absolutely primo Frank Zappa. Love, love, love it to bits. Very jazzy, very complex, very proggy, you could say. It's my favorite period of Zappa, except for like some of the really early stuff in the 60s. Just absolutely great, great stuff. And then the last album we're going to have a look at, I had a couple of albums to choose from for this band that are having significant anniversaries in the month of June. I went with this one because I think it's one that gets talked about less. I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know which the other one is. This album is having its 30th anniversary in the month of June. It was originally released on the 26th of June 1995, and that is Afraid of Sunlight by Marillion. And yes, this is an original 1995 pressing. This album is terrific. They were asked after the, you know, torturous length of time that it took to make Brave, which I think was absolutely worth it because Brave is a terrific album. The record company were at the end of their tether with this band. They asked them to make an album quickly. They actually did by their standards. I mean, even on the back, it says this album was knocked out. So, but does the quality suffer? Not one bit as far as I'm concerned. I think this is an absolutely brilliant Marillion album. It starts off with the brilliant Gazpacho. Really, really great. And then Cannibal Surf Babe is this, you know, sort of 60s Beach Boys-y kind of song. And, you know, it's got this sort of cheesy organ on it and all this sort of thing. It's very out of character for Marillion, but I love it to death. It's a lot of fun. It's a very silly song. And it's nice to see this band get a bit silly for once. Beautiful is everything its name says it is. It is an absolutely gorgeous song. It was the single off the album. It did nothing, unfortunately. But I think it's an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous song. And the lyric gets me in the feels every time I listen to it. Then you get Afraid of Sunrise. There's a song Afraid of Sunrise, and then there's a song Afraid of Sunlight. And they share quite a bit of the lyrics. So it's, you know, what this band would do is they would jam and they would make these pieces of music. And then Steve Hogarth, either with his own lyrics or with John Helmer's lyrics, because John Helmer wrote some of the lyrics back in these sort of 90s albums, he would try various lyrics that, you know, he had, either his own or John's, and try them on various different pieces of music. And obviously he must have tried this on the two pieces of music or these lyrics and couldn't decide which one they liked better, or they just decided they liked them both, so they went with both of them on the album. Musically, they're very, very different pieces of music, and you know, I think most people would give the nod to the title track, Afraid of Sunlight, as to which is the better of the two. I might just give it to Afraid of Sunrise. I think it's an underrated track. I think it's a buried treasure in the Marillion catalogue. Out of This World is, you know, beautiful again. You know, it's talking about Donald Campbell, I think his name was, who was setting speed records and, you know, crashed his boat and died. And, you know, it's about him. Beyond You, again, it's a song that really gets you in the feels. It's, you know, got this sort of Phil Spector-ish production to it. It's, yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And then King to end the album. I mean, wow, what an album closer King is. It's epic. It's just, it brings the album to a climax. It's absolutely wonderful. One of my absolute favourite Marillion albums. I will definitely do a Marillion ranking at some stage, whether it'll be the whole catalogue or whether I'll just do a top 10. I haven't quite decided yet, but I definitely will do a Marillion ranking at some stage, so keep an eye out for that. So there you have it. Those are my anniversary albums for the month of June 2025. Please let me know in the comments which of these you like, which maybe you don't care for so much. And most importantly, what albums did I not include that you think I should have? Because I always love reading those comments. Sometimes they're albums that were on my longer list, because I always have a big long list of albums that are having anniversaries. Sometimes though, you guys come up with albums that I never even thought of, and I love it when you do that, because I end up going out and listening to those albums. Sometimes they're things that I haven't listened to for a long time. Occasionally they're things I've never listened to at all. And I get to discover new music. So thank you for that. Please do like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. If you're new to the channel, please go and have a look at some of my other videos. I have everything playlisted, so if you want to see some of my other anniversary album shows, I have a playlist for those. If you want to see some of my favourite albums of all time shows, I have a playlist for those. And if you want to see my appearances on other people's channels, I also have a playlist for those. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at bicyclelegs on Instagram, Twitter and a bunch of other places. I also have a dedicated bicyclelegs Facebook page. Links are all in the doobly-doo. Please do give those all a follow and join in the conversation. I'd really love to have you there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.